guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update to a video I covered about a month and a half ago, which is titled, I was overweight and bullied as a kid, then cheated on by my first love, now I'm living a great life. As a recap, because it's been 6 weeks, that's about the young guy who wrote in about his life, how as a kid, like I said in the title, he was overweight, bullied, that type of thing, which definitely can mess somebody up. However, when he went to college, he definitely came out of his shell, made a lot of friends, joined a frat. Things were going pretty good, and then he met his first love. I believe the name was Amanda. And at first, everything was great, but then eventually found out that she was not so great, and a cheater and all that. And it ended where he obviously went through a depression, a funk, but got rid of her, put on a bunch of weight, and then he lost the weight, was doing really good in life on multiple fronts, and met a gal. Actually, a gal met him and pursued him because you see that he lost a bunch of weight. She was impressed by his hard work, and they started dating, a gal by the name of Jess. And it ended with him, on the high note, things are going well in his life. Well, now he's writing with an update as to what's been going on, and particularly how he used the things he's learned on this channel and all through the stories to help him with his situation with his girlfriend Jess, where establishing boundaries, spotting red flags, nipping things in the bud, that type of thing. So I'm going to go over here because I know a number of you guys took an interest in this young guy, and I always like to hear how guys are doing after a while and how they can apply what they learn here and other good channels out there to make their lives and their situations better. Now, it's a long one, as you can see, but he's got a lot of things to share, and I'm going to have some critiques here and there, but I think you'll enjoy it. It says here, hello SSM. This is Jay once again. I got an update for you regarding my current relationship with Jess. So Jess, which is short for Jessica. Is that her real name or is that a code? Because you got to watch out for those Jessicas. In my last submission, I detailed some of my struggles in childhood with bullies, being overweight and unhappy with my body, and overcoming my first love cheating on me. That's a lot of shit, man. That's also called life. The hurdles in life had their moments of pain, but I kept my head down and focused on self-improvement in those tough times, and I'm on the other side now doing great, both happy and healthy. Wonderful. You did what a lot of guys don't do. They just wallow in misery. You picked yourself up and kept going on, because that's what life is, guys. We're going to have disappointments. We're going to have problems. We're going to have sometimes heartbreak and catastrophes, but you have to pick up the pieces and keep going. Otherwise, they win. Now on to the update here with my current relationship. I've been very careful to take your advice and implement them where it could be useful. I'm happy to say I've had great success from your teachings. Jess and I are both doing very well and happy together, coming up on about 10 months together. But of course we have various trials and will surely face more in the future, as all couples do. All couples are going to have disagreements on things, or, but it's how you handle things. It's how she handles things. It's how she communicates, how she respects you, and that type of thing that says it all. And by the way, at the end of the last story, he'd been with her for 8 months, but he's getting the details of how things went. In my previous submission, I detailed how Jess and I met at a church group for young adults, and she was actually the one who approached me. This began where I started utilizing your advice. I absolutely did not want to end up being another nice guy in this woman's friend zone. Well, there you go. You were burned the first time. Oh, hell no, that's not going to happen again. I wanted to portray myself as slightly ambivalent in terms of dating. I let her know I appreciate her attention and compliments, but wouldn't quite return the favor. In other words, you were being indifferent. And, try not to be a jerk, but being indifferent, and not chasing after her. And a good-looking chick in her 20s is used to plenty of dudes chasing after them. So you being indifferent, as you described as ambivalent, will make her think, oh shit, well, he's not chasing after me, so therefore I got to be in love with him. As an example, she would squeeze my arm or touch my chest and comment how impressed she was in the physical changes I am making over the year, my fairly drastic weight loss. Rather than jump to ask her out, as most guys would, I would instead say, oh, thank you, Jess, you look good as well. This went on for a couple of weeks before she gave in and asked me to lunch. Well, better if she asked you out for nighttime. Lunch is what friends do, but fortunately I know this leads to you guys being serious. Not wanting to lose my composure, I continued to play things cool and suggested a coffee date instead of right after our church group. which she happily accepted. Great tip, by the way, SSM. Coffee dates saved me probably $50 rather than going to some horrendously overpriced brunch restaurant the girls love with a $22 omelets and $12 mimosas. I can't stand brunch. To me, it's either breakfast or lunch or dinner. None of this in-between shit. I can't sit at a table and have a good breakfast while somebody across from me is having the freaking sliced prime rib or lobster and drinking booze at 10 o'clock. No. You'll never, ever see me at fucking brunch. Breakfast only. But yeah, a coffee date. Good for you. You're immediately showing her you're not trying to wine and dine her to impress her, and you're saving a lot of money because, hey, you may not like her, as it turns out. First date was great, and I slowly would open up more over time. I think she liked the challenge I presented for her. Yes, you didn't show her your full hand. She had to peel back the onion slowly and get to know who you are. That's attractive to women. You let her do all the fucking talking on the date because that's what women want to do anyway. Unlike many guys who throw themselves at a girl practically begging for attention and intimacy, I sometimes wouldn't text her for 12 or so hours at a time. Not always purposely, just being busy with work and my daily routine. Good, dude. You shouldn't be bombarding her with texts and shit all the time. Yeah, you have your grind, you have your job, you have your bros, you have the gym. You can text, if she reaches out to you, you can respond later when you're not busy, but if you're just bombarding with text, that's the quickest way to turn a girl off. As we got more comfortable and things were going well for us, I started to set boundaries and establish myself as someone she must take seriously early on. Very good. Start off right. First off, I made it clear that there will be no close guy friends, and if she had any she was unwilling to let go, then I informed her that it was a firm deal breaker for me, and we can cut things off now before we get more serious. Good. So there's no confusion, no hanging out with other dudes, no guy friends, that type of thing, because we know where that goes. And hey, you're not doing it either. You're not having girlfriends to hang out with or talk to. At the time, I had no reason to bring this up. She does not have any guy friends in her circle. Only the boyfriends of her girlfriends, but they are hardly ever together since they live a bit spread out from each other. The girls will plan outings and such as concerts or shopping days together. Jess was very receptive and understanding why I felt this way. She wanted to continue things with me and agreed that there would not be any future guy friends in her life. These are not club type of women, so thankfully I don't have to worry about the dreaded girls' nights out at the moment. Of course, that could change, but I've already made my feelings known about that to Jess. Good. I always say establish boundaries early on. You're learning, dude. Very good. And I'm so impressed that the first date, even though I'm sure you want to spend more time with her, was the coffee date. Very good. Another reason I don't have to worry as much about her lying about her location is that early on I requested that we share our locations with each other. Furthermore, we each own our own homes, so I gave her access to my security cameras, some but not all, and she can confirm my whereabouts, and she installed cameras at her place upon my request. That seems like a bit overkill, dude. I mean, I'm all for security and everything, but I'm for boundaries and everything and establishing expectations, but let's not get carried away here. She also liked the idea of for her own safety and security, of course, and she shared access to those cameras with me. Jess is very much a homebody, so from time to time, and she's at home or out in town, I check in, ask what she's up to, and then verify via cameras and her shared location. Trust but verify, gents. I'm all but for trust but verify, but you tapping into her security feed at her house is a bit much, and her tapping into yours. To me, that's excessive. That's, you don't want to be a fucking prison warden. Things kept going well, kept going, moving along nicely. I held off on the milestones of establishing the relationship as you recommended. Jess was the first one to bring it up, and after that conversation, we agreed to make things official. Good. Let the girl bring it up. When guys bring it up, that shows the girl that the guy's more into them, more into the relationship, and that might make her think if she's not ready yet, oh shit, he's getting too needy and close, and gets turned off. You always want to have it to be that she is more into the relationship than you are, guys. It puts you in a much better place. And for those of you who've experienced this, you know I'm right. Let her bring up the relationship. If she doesn't bring it up, she ain't ready yet. And just a couple months ago, after a nice date together, she told me she loved me for the first time, and I reciprocated. Good. Let her do it first. Again, none of this I love you shit first, guys. 2 more tips I learned through you. Let the woman take the initiative to make those moves. Correct. You can take the initiative to plan fun outings and dates and shit together, but the talking about relationships and where things are going and the I love yous and that shit, let her do them first. I know I keep interrupting, guys. You're like, shut the fuck up, SSM. But we're here to learn shit, and he's learned shit, and so I'm pointing these things out. All right, you're on a roll, my man. Despite things going well, I was on constant lookout for red flags, especially in these early stages. Very good. He says, SSM, you have an entire catalog of education for us guys in your channel regarding what to look out for. Early on, the topic of past relationships and partners came up, and this was the one area where I had my first few doubts about just being potential girlfriend material. Aha, now we're getting somewhere, the juicy stuff. She claimed a body count of only 4 guys, aka 12 guys, according to the 3 rule, of course. It's still pretty acceptable at modern women's standards. Okay, so she said she slept with 4 dudes. Now, 4 dudes she slept with, but what about fooling around? Okay, there could have been 4 dudes all the way, but how many of the dudes, that she was doing some sausage sampling? And yes, the old thing about whatever number a woman gives you, multiply times 3. Maybe she can be an exception and it can be less than that whole rule thing, but basically go by that. Hell, some girls out there hit double digits before they can vote. I'm no saint myself. I got into the hookup culture and racked up a count of 24 women myself. Just kidding. The rule still applies. Haha. Divide by 3 for the males side of the equation, and my true number is 8. Yeah, when you said when I first read this and you said your number is 24, I'm thinking, bullshit. Your number's probably like 8 to 10. I asked a lot of questions about her preferences, kinks if any, and her thoughts on alternative lifestyles such as open marriages or swinging, etc. All but one of her encounters she described were fairly standard long-term relationships. All but one, huh? Well, all it takes is one interesting scenario to impact your relationship with her. But the one thing that made my heart sink is when she informed me that 2 years ago she had a casual fling for 6 to 7 months with a married man who we'll call Tim, who is 12 years older and in an open relationship with his wife. Tim will make another appearance in this update, so hold on to that name. I'm not liking this, dude. And didn't you say she's a church girl and she was involved with an open relationship? Now, did the wife know about this, or was this all going on Tim's word? That, the wife and I are in an open relationship. Ha, 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 ha. If the wife knew about it and she was clear about that, I'm not saying I agree with it, that's a better situation, but I'm not liking this, her getting in the sack with a married man. That is a red flag to me, dude. But I'll continue on with your story. At this point, I'm a bit crushed thinking this girl was awesome and things are going well, but I'm going to have to move on or I can't be with her if she's into something like an open marriage. There you go. Your gut told you that and you're right. But wanting more info, we dove into this in this time of her life, and I told her straight up, this is not really something I'm okay with. I want to know the details and see if this is something that is going to affect us moving forward. I felt a bit hypocritical at this point. I've been fully honest with her about my college years with one of my hookups was a drunken threesome. Okay, if you were in a threesome, and she did the open thing, I mean, both of you engage in extra different type of activities here. We'll be fair here, but still, the difference is your threesome with two single people. And that one time, hers was, you said, 6 to 7 months, which is probably more like a year, with a married man. Yeah, your thing was quick. Her thing was, I don't regret the threesome thing, but I certainly do not engage in something like that again, especially not with a girlfriend I'm devoted to. I try to make it clear to Jess that I wasn't judging her. I just couldn't be in a relationship with someone who was a part of such a lifestyle. She explained to me they had met online. She began chatting with Tim simply out of curiosity because their profile listings as an open marriage was something she was not familiar with. Oh, what a load of crap. Come on, she had to know what it was. What she reached out to this guy solely because she was just curious what an open marriage was. No, they connected and she talked to him because obviously she found him attractive and had qualities that she liked. Unfortunately, at this time, Jess experienced a traumatic event involving someone close to her, and this sent her on a downward turn. So she had a traumatic event, which seems like all young gals seem to magically have when they go off the deep end. And because of the tragic event, her way of dealing with this downward spiral is getting into an open relationship with a dude who's married. I'm not liking this. What happens when there's other tragedies in her life? Is she going to then go off the deep end and engage in things that you won't approve of? These are things you have to keep track of, my man. This is why you learn about a girl's history. Drinking and going out more was common, but she had always looked down the hookup culture. She began to see Tim as a safer alternative with his friends with benefits proposal compared to hooking up with a slew of random men. She was depressed and very much seeking attention and validation at this time. So again, we can all have bad things happen in our lives, guys. It happens. But if we let it make us go down a downward spiral, and the result is drugs and alcohol or hookup culture and risking our health or risking getting pregnant, that doesn't sound like a way that someone handles problems well. And that's a bad sign to me. Probably doing so as a way to boost her confidence, mental health, or just trying to distract from the traumatic event which was troubling her at the time. Jess struggles with her body image, despite looking, in my opinion, quite stunning. She sadly doesn't have the best opinion of herself. But happy to say she has been going to therapy since we started dating, and she's doing great currently. Well, I'm glad to hear she's doing something about that. But it also makes me another red flag. If she has body image issues, gals like that, then they need the attention and validation to make them feel better about themselves. And this could be a problem for the boyfriend or husband of a you get my point? Jess made it abundantly clear to me that she absolutely wanted no part of an open marriage of her own or any sort of poly-swinging dynamic. Well, maybe as long as she's with a guy she's attracted to and respects, but if she starts losing respect for said guy, maybe that could change. I have to point that out. This experience with Tim was something she would not wish to do again. It had been about 2 years since they last saw each other. After hearing the details and her views about what she wanted out of our relationship, which reaffirmed her commitment to me and only me, I decided I was willing to accept this as part of her past and continue our relationship. Well, that's on you, dude. I mean, I know she had a lot of qualities that you like, and she was good with the boundaries and all this stuff, but her and the open relate. My biggest issue with this whole thing is, and even if it was the wife knew that there was an open marriage, the wife was a part of the open marriage thing, she still got involved with this guy, and she was okay with it. And she said, "You said a church girl, right?" And the fact that you said downward spiral in her life, that makes me a little, I don't know, man. I wouldn't be going down this path. That would have been the part I would have parted ways. But I'm going to finish your story, and we'll re-examine this thing at the end. It says, "Slap me here if you will, SSM. I may be proved wrong in the future, and we'll learn from this mistake as it turns out to be one. But I'll be cautious. I'm always looking out for red flags. As I said earlier, trust but verify. Up to the present moment, I have not found any reasons to distrust Jess." Well, that's great and all, but I'll go back to that shit at the end. Early in our relationship, I told Jess I wanted an open phone policy. We each have our passwords and free access to one another's phone. One day, the two of us were after work. We were hanging out, watching a movie, and what do you know? She gets a text from Tim. Oh, do tell. How interesting. Another reason it's important to discuss histories with your girl. Had I not known who this guy was to her, she could have played off as a coworker or old college friend to spare me the details of her true history. I watch as she gets my attention and opens the message to show me. She shows me the timestamp of their text history, and this was the first time in over 8 months which he reached out to her, so I know they didn't have regular communication. Well, maybe on that app. She also previously let me know that in the 2 years since she last saw him, he would pop up in her inbox periodically with an invite to hook up. So this guy's routinely, whenever he wants to get some, he's reaching out to her. She turned them all down once she was over that point in her life and had no wish to resume their friends with benefits arrangement. This time was no different. Good old Tim's wife must have been off with one of her boyfriends, and this poor guy was lonely looking to get some. Poor guy. I wouldn't describe the guy who used to bang your girls. Poor guy. Jess, with me watching, replied, "Sorry, not interested. I have a boyfriend. Please do not contact me again." Tim then messages, "Okay, hope this guy's a good one. He doesn't have to know, though. We could still have some fun." Oh, okay. Now Tim's trying to encourage her to sleep with him, even if she has a boyfriend. Yeah, this is a great guy. I think Jess could feel me tensing up and getting angry. She scoffed in disgust and went to block him, but I paused her. I handed her my phone, and she handed me hers. For the next 2 hours, I went through everything. I even called the IT guy at my company for advice on how to check for deleted text messages, pictures, videos, etc., and found nothing. To my knowledge, she once again was truthful with me. Now satisfied there was not anything more worthy of concern, I watched as she deleted and blocked his contact information. Well, I'm glad she showed you her phone and let you go through that and you learned some tricks and all that, but I'm not going to get past this open relationship shit and her downward spiral and her way to deal with it. Unfortunately, Jess is still being haunted by this poor decision, making a bad time in her life, haha. Now, we all make mistakes, guys. I'm going to say this to be fair here. We all do dumbass shit when we're young and have regrets. Nobody here is perfect. He who... What the hell is this saying? He who is without sin cast the first stone. A very good saying from the man himself, JC. But still, you don't want that as your girlfriend. Turns out we may not be fully out of the woods yet with Tim just yet. Jess owns her own home, but has a roommate named Lisa, who's one of her closest friends. Lisa very recently, within the last 2 months, is separated from her long-term boyfriend and is looking to enter the infamous hoe phase, as she's been partnered up from high school all the way up to her late 20s with the same guy and has not had any other experiences. You're telling me your girlfriend Jess's roommate for a few years and BFF is now single and wants to go through, and she said, a hoe phase, and this is the girl Jess spends all her time with, and I tell you, pay attention to your girl hangs out with. This is not good. I'm not liking this. Jess and Lisa lived together for 3 to 4 years, so Lisa was around back when Tim was regularly visiting Jess. During this time, Tim and Lisa would casually chat, a bit flirty sometimes, and engage contact info, but nothing ever happened, since Lisa was committed to her boyfriend. Lisa said Tim would send her the same probing messages from time to time, with the end goal being to hook up, but she always denied him and never cheated on her boyfriend. Lisa and her ex did not split due to infidelity. It was Lisa changing her stance and not wanting kids. Now in the present, Lisa has made her new single chapter of life public on social media, and of course Tim has been quick to offer himself to help her forget about her ex. Of course Tim has, and now Tim is now somehow in your girl Jess's life because they're roommates. At first, I thought this was hilarious and began joking about how sad his life must be. Why doesn't this poor bastard just get a divorce? But as my laughter faded, it began to click. What if Lisa actually wants to hook up with Tim? That would mean Tim may be getting invited back to Lisa and Jess's home. Not gonna lie, this moment of clarity was mild panic and adrenaline dump, as I had to move fast to shut this down before it begins. There is no way I'm going to tolerate this guy being around anywhere around Jess. I walked in the room where Jess was watching TV and with an authoritative voice said that we have to talk right now. Please turn off that for a few minutes. I know Lisa has been gung-ho about getting some new guys between her legs lately. I know you mentioned Tim even hit her up for an offer. The fact that you're saying that her roommate is literally gung-ho to get guys between her legs. Yeah, she's a catch. Jess began to interrupt at this point, saying, oh, she wouldn't actually. And I cut her off by saying, hold on, I'm not quite done. Finish with the, look, this is your home. You are allowed to host whoever you like in your home, but I will not allow Tim to be around you, period. Let alone your own home. I do not care if he is here to bang Lisa and be on his way without even saying hello to you. Or simply just waking her inside after a date and watching a movie on the couch. I will end things right now and we can go our separate ways if that's something you're going to tolerate in your home. I love you, and because of that, I'm protective of you. I just don't trust Tim. Well, let's be honest, you also just don't trust her either. I wouldn't either. This is the guy who was married, and she used to hook up with knowing he was married, even though open relationship. He has already once undermined our relationship once and proven to be a shitty person. He is a shitty person. But guess what? A lot of women are attracted to shitty persons. And if Jess is feeling down about herself, now Tim's in her life. Now this is where most modern women would say, OMG, you're so insecure and controlling. I was half expecting Jess to tell me to get the fuck out of her house, and who am I to make these demands of her? But because of the foundation we built our relationship on, and in my opinion thanks to the tips I used from you, I got a much different response from Jess. She said, you're absolutely right. He'll never be welcome here. I'm going to text Lisa right now and let her know that if she's going to indulge herself in that phase and include Tim as part of it, she'll only have the option of going to his place. Her text to Lisa, and this is actually the text, I'm reading it now. He says, hey, I know you mentioned Tim had sent you some messages now that you're single, and I have to set a boundary with you. Due to our history together and my current relationship with Jay, he is never to set foot on this property. You're free to do what you want with whomever you want to sleep with, but as the owner of the home and as your landlord, I want to make myself clear just in case this actually ends up occurring. Well, I like that she sent that, and she's very direct, but Lisa could take offense to this. Lisa was understanding and agreed to Jess's and my boundaries regarding this matter. I don't know if she was seriously considering seeing Tim or not, but I know that it's no longer a concern of mine, and I'm not troubled with any doubts or questions that would cause me to stress over this. Well, I wouldn't go that far, buddy. After that tense moment, I felt proud of myself. I was happy with the way I asserted myself. I made my concerns known, and I was firm with my demands and the alternatives if Jess did not want to agree to my request. I feel like we built a pretty solid relationship together, despite each of us having some unsavory items in our past. We love and trust each other. He says, that doesn't mean we don't verify our trust of each other and have boundaries. Through the trials, such as this reoccurring Tim situation, our trust in each other has grown along the way, and so has my respect for Jess and how she's handled my response to these situations and the boundaries that I've set. I will say this. When you set your boundaries, she doesn't throw these temper tantrums, so there's no you're so insecure and you're so controlling crap. She's listening to you and respecting them. That's good. I will give her that. He says, don't worry, SSM, no wedding bells in our near future. I've already warned Jess I won't propose in less than 3 years. Good. Absolutely not. In that time, I'll be trying to convince her we can have a nice wedding ceremony and party with the dress and all the family and friends, etc. But no signed marriage license, LO. We can tell everyone we're married, act married, like we're married, just to actually be legally married. Another great tip I picked up from one of your videos. I'm not going to lie, it's not just I too would like to be married. I'm a relationship guy. But hey, maybe she'll come around to keeping the government out of the relationship. I'll keep trying, but don't smack me too hard if one day, 4 to 7 years down the line, we end up doing the thing the old-fashioned way with a marriage license and all. Dude, I know you're a relationship guy. I know you want to be married one day and kids as long as the stars are aligned, so don't pretend that you don't. But yeah, you need a lot of time to vet and screen, and you need to do that with her if you're going to stay with her. Sorry this has been a long one, but your lessons have been crucial in showing me these things. I wanted to send you this update and thank you yourself, SSM, and the other guys over the years who submit personal stories and articles to gain knowledge from. This type of content is truly special and has an impact far beyond what I expected when I first started watching your channel. The crazy stories and funny revenge plots turn into life lessons that are helping me and other men all over the world. Thanks for doing what you do. Cheers, Jay. Well, Jay, I appreciate the update, and I'm really glad that the channel's been helpful. And yeah, a big thank you to all the guys out there, past and present and future, about sending their stories. Because every time you guys send stories in, there's something to learn from these. And right here, this is a guy who made a lot of mistakes and had a tough past, but he's learned a lot by listening to these stories. So again, thank you to all you guys that have written in, and keep sending them in if you have updates to your stories, or if you've been watching me for a while and you never wrote in, but you have a good story to share, send it in. But anyhow, bro, I'm going to comment on your situation here. So you have improved drastically compared to the old you with your first girlfriend who cheated on you and broke your heart. I mean, really, it's incredibly impressive at the boundaries you set. Little things like, the first date, we're going to go have a coffee instead of go to fucking brunch or lunch or whatever. Or not chasing after her and bombarding her with texts like a lot of guys do when they get giddy, when they start dating a pretty girl. You're not doing that. Setting boundaries, the things with their friends. These are all things a lot of guys would be scared shitless to do, fearing they'll lose the girl. And that's good. So you do a lot of things right. I'm impressed with that. However, the thing about her with that guy who's a douchebag, Tim, she knowingly, the church girl I might add, was partaking in his open marriage. And I don't think that'd be very popular with the church folks, And you said that she had some traumatic experience. Okay, that can happen to all of us. Bad times happen. And it was on a downward trend and was needing attention and validation to feel better about herself. And that's where she got involved with this. My problem with that is, guess what? In life, shit happens. And there'll be other hard times. And when things get tough, is she going to have to go down a downward spiral and engage in deviant things, if you will? Or drug and alcohol? You never know. Now, if she's with you and loves and respects you, tough time comes, she can come to you and work it out with you and you'll be enough. But I have to wonder, as you understand, I have to wonder about that thing. To me, that's a very, very big fucking red flag. And the fact that douchebag was still reaching out to her, And, and now you tell me that her good friend and roommate now wants to go through the hoe phase. So again, Jess is going to see, Jess is going to see her coming home with dudes and all that. And this is just not, if you're going to continue on with her, you really needed to pay attention to things. That's what I'm going to say. I would have checked out, frankly, when she admitted that open relationship thing, because there's a big difference between you having a three-way in college with a couple chicks one time, and I believe you're being honest with the one-time thing, versus her for 7 months with a dude. You get the point. Open marriage and all that, No, there's a big fucking difference here. And again, how you said that she has body image issues. And so gals with body image issues never think they look good enough. And I'm glad she's going to therapy and all that. And that's great. She's trying to work on herself, but still, gals like that, to deal with body image issues, have to get attention elsewhere. The attention and validation, which you mentioned earlier. And so if you're going to do this, I'd proceed with caution and I'd take your time. That's all I can say. I would have been out of there, but that's just me. But you're learning. You've done a hell of a lot of things right, but just if you're going to be with her, continue on, but really pay attention to these things, because at the end of the day, guys, you can't watch your girl 24/7. And if that's your plan, I'm telling you, it's not worth it, because you can't be a prison warden to her life. That's just, there has to be trust in a relationship. If there's no trust, it's never going to work. And you have to then basically let her go to see if you can trust her, and that's the hard part, So I'm glad she's, sticking by a lot of things that are important to you, the various boundaries you set and being a good girlfriend, but, that's a giant red flag about the past, So we shall see. But yes, most certainly take your time with her. So bro, it's good to hear from you. I'm glad you're doing well. You've been applying these principles. You've done great. Keep up with the gym. Keep up with your good job, taking care of yourself. And I hope it works out. But, I am sure a lot of the guys watching this are going to say, yeah, that open marriage thing, that's a big one. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be proved wrong. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. Definitely. You give him congratulations. How he's been doing a lot of things right compared to the nice guy he used to be. Definitely, remember that he's definitely improved greatly. But let him know what you think about what he described in Jess's past with partaking that open marriage thing with that guy, and her roommate going through the hoe phase, and how this girl, how she deals with traumatic events, has to, you get the point. I want to hear what you guys think, and he needs to know what you think. Maybe you think I'm overreacting. That's fine. You can tell him that too, but chime in. We can help a young brother out. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.